Welcome to this Taoist meditation session. The meditations I'm going to be presenting come from Taoism. You might be wondering why I'm talking about all sorts of things before doing the meditation. It is to give you a context and understanding why you're doing it so it can have a much better effect for you. Just sit straight, breathe, let your mind get quiet, go on to the meditation. Now, this area in your body right here, it's actually much deeper inside your body. It's almost in the middle of your body. The lower Dantian, anyone who's ever done anything with Chinese meditation, martial arts, Qigong, yoga, you name it, the one thing that you hear about pretty soon is the lower Dantian. Now, if you do any form of yoga, you're likely the first thing you're going to hear a bit about is going to be the heart. But the Chinese idea of, let's just say, how human bodies and everything work is that they don't do 7 chakras. And as a matter of fact, I think the chakra thing is very confusing because, for example, the Tibetans only do 5. But there were a whole lot of pictures that came up in the 1800s with all these drawings about Kundalini or about the chakras, and they were very uneven, and people got a lot of distorted ideas about chakras, which teachers in the West who are competent and knowledgeable, whether they're Asians or whether they're Westerners, have had to spend an immense amount of time clearing up the misinformation. But this is how it kind of works. In Chinese thought, you have 3 main chakras, and they call them Dantians. They don't call them chakras. That's an Indian term. Dantian's a Chinese term. And one is here, a little bit, between your belly button and the top of your pubic hair. And you can get all sorts of things, how it's 1.3 inches, and that confuses people. They're actually not talking about inches, they're talking about Chinese Tsun, which is a different kind of a marker. But this is one. The second one is your heart center, which is not where your physical heart is, but a little bit over. And the third one, that's called the middle Dantian. And then you have the upper one that's called the upper Dantian, which is actually the entire brain. It's not just the pineal gland or the pituitary. It actually is the whole brain. And then they actually have other names and separate names for all those other things, which are considered just to be connectors to the 3 main Dantians. Now, all this is very abstract and you may not care about it, but since many people listening to this are people who've had some experience, the Chinese things, I just go to clear it up. Now, each of your chakras does something different. All 3 of your Dantians can do the functions of the other 2. But they're not set up in the body to do that. They're set up to do certain functions of the human system at an optimum level. Where one that is not that, for that figure, another chakra, Dantian, I'm only using the word chakra as everybody else does, that it doesn't do it to an optimum level. So let's get it here. What is the lower Dantian? As I said, it's somewhere, if you take your belly button, you take the top of your pubic hair, it's going to be closer to the pubic hair than to the belly button, and there are 2 of them. One is just inside your body about that much, and the other one is on the central channel that goes from the center of your head all the way down through to your perineum. But the fact of the matter is that if you find either one of them with your mind, you'll get access to the other one also. So, many things about the lower Dantian. The lower Dantian is the bridge between life and death. We're born, we die, and I'm not going to go into all what reincarnation is, although it's for sure, it does it, but the lower Dantian, its bigger function is to, when you die, get what's in you out of your body. Okay, and to get it out the top of your head, as opposed to other parts of your body where if you get reborn, you could have a really, really nasty time of it all. What the lower Dantian also does is that it is the one place that's used in Qigong where every energy that moves through your body, through every channel, this is the central switchboard. If that energy relates to your physicality, not necessarily to your spirituality, and not necessarily to time and space, the entirety of time and space, which happens up here. Not necessarily to your emotions, although it can make them very stable and solid, because things due to your emotions are much more about here. But it is about what makes your body physically work. That's its primary thing, and it does a lot of other things that are very important. Now, from hearing this, you might think that in the Asian thing, well, if it's this in time and space, there are many, many Indian and Chinese and Tibetan things. You get enlightened from here. Other ones, you get enlightened from your heart. The Dantian is how you can become enlightened from your body. But more than just that, it also is, because everything in your body that connects to physicality connects through it, it is also the source of your physical strength. Not necessarily your mental strength, not necessarily your emotional strength, but your physical strength. And we need a certain amount of that to navigate the world. If your body's too weak and you're just always, life is not going to go so well. And when you have a severe illness, you're not going to be able to recover from it. When you have immense stress around you, whether you just can take it and easily shrug it off, rather than have to go through a whole lot of practices that are going to release that stress from your system. So it's also your general health. What will keep you out of hospitals, what will keep you blah, 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 blah. And it's also essentially your immunity to whatever diseases are flying around, of which the COVID virus is a good example. Now, it's got a few other things. Because it's really connected to life, if it's in control or everything that has to do with the blood and everything else that keeps you alive, it's also the sense of life. And especially the willingness to engage life. Now, many people are chronically depressed. And many people are just, they've lost their willingness to engage with life. You know, the classic example being a couple have been together 30, 40, 50 years and one of them suddenly dies. And then you find within a year the other person dies. You find that people, to have an engagement with life, if you don't go and engage with life, you are not going to become a happy camper. You're not going to be able to self-generate happiness and just the sheer joy of having a body, which is not a permanent situation, but has a limited duration. So the lower Dantian, when it gets strong, it gives a person a sense of being strong pretty much in every way they can, but especially in terms of their body and their just general emotional disposition. People who have a very, very strong Dantian, things which make other people get all upset and twist it all up in knots, they kind of, okay, and we go. And we go forward. We engage with the next thing that's quote unquote on the path. So the lower Dantian is very, very important. And many schools of Chinese meditation are based upon the lower Dantian. Generally speaking, the Buddhist ones are not. They're based here, as well as many, many Hindu methods of spirituality are basically based upon the upper Dantian. So, lower Dantian, your body. Middle Dantian, your emotions and your relationships of every kind. including your relationship with you to you. So if you want to really know who are you and why are you here, that is much easier to find in the middle Dantian than in the other two. And then you have the upper Dantian, which is about time and space, which is a somewhat mysterious subject, and I'll leave that one alone. But how can you be aware of all time as being the same time? You know, are things as linear as we actually think they are? And so, the willingness to engage life. But the lower Dantian is the bridge between life and death, because when the lower Dantian weakens to a certain point, you die. And when I was a Qigong Tuina doctor in China, we had people and you could just watching them. They were going to die. They were drifting into death. And if you've worked with a lot of people at terminal cancer, it's very obvious when they do that. And by having them do certain things with their lower Dantian, you could watch them going, here we go to die, and they would start coming up out of it. Because they had the strength and the willingness to engage life. Okay, now, if we look at the rest of this, initially, as we have been doing in every one of these meditation things, I want you to start from feeling the top of your head. And then I want you to just feel anything that feels blocked. And we've gone into how you can feel if it's blocked, you know, whether your body can. But then, what I want you to do, and I will take you through going through the points, I want you to get something that when you feel a blockage, no matter where it is, whether it's in your earlobe, wherever it is, can you, when you get very quiet and just observe that blockage, can you notice the lower Dantian? Can you notice that that blockage has something to do with the lower Dantian? Because while you are in an earthly body, it will. How much, how little, that's case by case. No one can tell you ahead of time. So I'm going to want you to play around with that, okay? All right, so now we're just going to begin. Close your eyes. Sit up straight, or as straight as you can. Follow all the previous instructions on how to sit. Make your breath very even and smooth. Let your breath be as soft and relaxed as you can make it. And now going down from the top of the head, going inside your body a little bit, as far as you can, and stably remain at that place and not bounce back and forth between going deeper, less deep, deeper, less deep. You don't want to do that. And down to your forehead. Your two eyes. Your ears. Keeping your jaw very lightly shut, where your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. And now if you can, just for a moment, because where the tongue touches the roof of your mouth is more or less where the bottom of your brain is. Just feel your brain. And even though that might be difficult, just notice whatever it is you notice and just observe it. Don't have to get too heavy with it. And then I'm sure on the way down you felt some kind of blockages. You'd be a very unusual human being if you had not. But then if you feel a blockage anywhere in your head, is that blockage connected to your lower Dantian? And then go down lower, down your face, along in between each of your vertebrae. And go down till you reach the very bottom of your neck. And down further, down your chest, your shoulders, your back, trying to go a little bit deeper. And wherever you feel that somehow this flow going down your body is being interrupted or blocked, just pay a little bit of attention. Does it have something to do with your lower Dantian? And this eventually will be a door that will lead you to things that seem to be blocked in your life. What are they doing to your body? And how later that will give you the experience to know if you release things internally inside your body, you will find it also releasing pressures in your brain, your thought process, your emotions. And now we go down a little bit deeper. And your chest and your upper back. The spaces between your ribs. As this is a very easy access portal for the energies that run around your body horizontally. So in time you'll be able to recognize these horizontal energy lines inside your body. What's up? What's affecting up? How is it affecting up? And then one day you might become interested in Qigong and how to make those channels stronger, the energy flowing through them stronger. But here we're looking more for that if it's physical. The energies of your body are directly connected to your lower Dantian. And if truth be known, every part of you is connected to every part of you. So all these ways of, although some places in your body, they have special functions, such as the lower Dantian. Now, let's go down a little bit further. And let's see if we can release everything in the chest until we arrive at the heart. Remember, it's not in the center of your body, the physical heart. It's slightly to the side. And for this moment, I don't even want to tell you which side it is. I want you to find it. Because it emanates an incredibly powerful field within your body. And I want you just to see if you can get subtle enough to find it. And now continue down to your diaphragm. And in the front, the side and the back of you, just focus on dissolving. Focus on recognizing the chi that seems blocked up on your diaphragm. Keep in mind, your diaphragm is big. It goes all the way back to the back of your body. And just keep recognizing what's there. And as you begin to recognize what's in there, and you go a little bit deeper, or not even if deeper, you just somehow seem to get in there better, notice how that is reflecting what's happening in your lower Dantian. How the lower Dantian and this part of your body are connected. They're not independent. Or at least they're not completely independent. And now going lower. The same thing, recognize what's happening in your arms. As low as your diaphragm, your upper arms. And how anything you're feeling blocked is connected to what you're feeling in your diaphragm. Again, you don't have to do anything with it. The first step is you got to recognize what you're going to try and deal with, and then you have to deal with it. It's like if you're a hunter, the first thing you have to do is know where the animal is. Second thing is you shoot. First you have to know what's not free inside you. Then you learn how to get rid of what's not free. But this class is strictly about recognizing your internal situation for what it is. And now continue, go down and start going into, your internal organs, your spine. Well, whatever you can find, don't be concerned about its anatomical location. The first step is just to notice in that big piece of space that's in your belly, what's smooth and what's not smooth. And when you find something that's not smooth after watching it for a bit, knowing what it is, then you go a little bit lower. So by now, as you're going down, you could make contact with your heart, or your liver, or your lungs, or your kidneys, which will be somewhere below your diaphragm. But what do you have? Does everything feel normal, or does something just off? And then you go back to, and when you've done as best you can, you just go lower. Until you start inch by inch, and then you find something big inside your belly. And just somehow it creates more sensory input than any other place. And it's not physical, it's energetic. Give or take, it's a third of the way down from your navel down to your pubic hair. But there is no exact location. All these things about where something is exactly located here is usually based upon therapeutic methods. For example, where you'd put a needle. But in truth, your mind that finds it will get its location, and through that you'll be able to start transforming what's in there. So now settle into your lower Dantian. Let everything, and then locate your lower Dantian, and then sit on it like a hen sits on an egg. And the mother hen starts feeling the baby chick, I guess. I mean, I've never been a chicken, but it would seem that would make sense. And when you feel it, feel what's inside you. And then see if by feeling your lower Dantian, you can feel up your body and feel where blockages are between your lower Dantian and the top of your head. It's a two-way street. That lower Dantian can get you into any crevice of your body. Any crevice of your body can get you back to the lower Dantian. Now, the next time we're really going to work a lot more on between the lower Dantian and your feet. But this is not the moment. This is enough for tonight. You can just begin to recognize how your body is connected to your lower Dantian, and your lower Dantian is connected to your body. And if you can do that, that's a great progress. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.